Cedar Financial Review. The real strategy behind debt collection service companies. Have you recently been contacted by a debt collector company like Cedar Financial for a due bill and you don't know how these companies really work? You probably have multiple questions in your mind, are understandably anxious about the overall process and might be searching for something like Cedar Financial Reviews online to get a better idea on what's going on. Well, that is the reason we are presenting you with this video. Let's start with the basics first. What is a debt collector? In simpler terms, debt collectors are the companies responsible for collecting unpaid debts for others. In most of the cases, these companies work for a third party to collect an outstanding balance. If you have missed several payments, the original source company sells your unpaid bills to these third-party debt collection companies. Now it is the responsibility of these companies to get in touch with you. Generally, it is easier and more cost-effective to hire these debt collectors than to spend your own resources in the collection of your negligent accounts. The business of debt collection: a creditor pays a substantial percentage of around 25% to 45% of the amount collected to the debt collectors. For example, an agency might only be able to collect a pending amount of at least $200 that are less than 2 years old. Among the many types of unpaid bills, there are also some debts that are not easy to recollect. For them, the collection agencies can negotiate settlements with the consumers for an amount that is less than what the consumer actually owes. The debt collectors can also take legal actions against the consumers who are not ready to pay. How debt collectors buy packages. The creditor makes a package of numerous accounts having similar features and presents them as a group. Debt collectors can then choose a suitable package that is not too old and not handled by some other debt collector. Debt collectors like Cedar Financial buy these packages through a bidding process. There is only one tip for buyers: the older the debt, the less it costs, since it is a lot less likely to be collectible. The bidding price is much influenced by the type of debt, says Ramirez from Cedar Financial. For example, a mortgage debt costs more than a usual utility debt. In few cases, debt buyers keep everything they collect because they have already purchased the debt from creditor. But in general, debt collectors get paid when they recover a delinquent debt. The more they recover, the more they earn. What debt collectors do? Phone calls and letters are the simplest ways to contact borrowers and request them to repay the pending debt. When a consumer is not approachable by the contact information provided by the original creditor, then collectors dig deeper to reach them using a computer software, or in some worst cases, they even go for some private investigations. Debt collectors can also conduct searches for a debtor's assets such as bank accounts and brokerage accounts to find out his ability to repay. These middlemen can also report a debtor's delinquent debts to credit bureaus and for consumers to pay, since these kind of complaints can do serious damage to a consumer's credit score. What is the process of reputable collectors? One will find many complaints against debt collectors in the Federal Trade Commission than any other business. However, to keep them from being abusive and deceptive, the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act defines some rules based on which collection agencies can collect a debt. And there are many reputable debt collectors, including Cedar Financial, who consider all these rules and are careful enough to not violate any of the mentioned laws. A reputable debt collector is fair, respectful, honest and law-abiding. A consumer can always verify a debt request made by a collector in a written form request. Once a verification request is made by the consumer, the reputable collector puts all the collection activities on hold and sends the consumer back a written notice of the amount pending, the company you owe it to, and how to pay it. Debt collection is a legitimate business, so if in future a debt collector calls you, it's not necessarily a beginning of an abusive relationship. These collectors are honest and they are also doing their job. They work with you to create a plan to help you repay your debt.